And joining us now for a conversation during National Grain Bin Safety Week. Always important to talk about being safe around grain bins. Jana Davidson with Progressive Agriculture Foundation is our guest here today. Jana, it's great to talk with you again. Thanks for joining us on the program. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing well, Jesse. Thank you for having me.
Well, it is a busy week, no doubt. As I mentioned, it's Grain Bin Safety Week, but also it's National FFA Week. There's a lot of things going on in agriculture right now, and I know this is something that the Progressive Agriculture Foundation and Safety Days, you guys are teaching youth about grain bin safety because as the title of your latest column states. When seconds count. And that's what it is all about when it comes to grain bin safety. If there are accidents inside a grain bin, right, Jana?
Absolutely. So when you talk about seconds, that really is it's true. I think within 4 seconds, an adult like ourselves can be up to knee deep in grain, and within 20 seconds, completely engulfed. So that's how quick an incident can occur. And for many of our young people out there, many of our children, they just do not realize how quickly that can happen. And because they're curious, their size, so many different factors. A lot of times when they are involved in a grain incident, it usually ends up as a fatality. That's the sad reality.
Well, I think too, just looking at some of the latest stats that you shared in your column, what was it in 2022? The highest number of grain entrapments in what, a decade? That's a number we don't want to see, right, Jana?
It sure is. I think there was 42 total entrapments. So yes, the largest in a decade. A few other big stats, about 45% of the grain entrapments did result in fatalities, which again was an increase just from 2021. So from 2022 to 2021, we're seeing a 45% increase in fatalities, which is very scary. And then for us here at the Progressive Agriculture Foundation, the scary factor for us is that 7 of those involved youth under the age of 21. So,
Mhm.
it just really shows us. I know there's new technology out there. There are new practices, there's training, there's rescue tubes, there's so many things in place, but it's still showing us that incidents are still happening and that education is so important.
Well, let's talk about the education aspect. What are some things that you guys are teaching kids and teaching youth at Progressive Agriculture Safety Days, whether they're really young elementary kids, maybe they're kids in high school who are in FFA, for instance, things like that. Anyone under the age of 21, like you mentioned, what are some things that you're teaching kids about when it comes to grain bin safety?
Well, since our focus is primarily the youth 4 to 13, and a lot of times we do incorporate those older teens, whether they be in FFA or 4-H, to help us. Our message that we really like to send home is that grain is no place to play. So through educating youth, we do some things from showing those potential dangers. We have many different hands-on activities and demonstrations that really incorporate that, so the kids learn by doing. We also show characteristics and scenarios associated with grain bin management that they need to be aware of. But our goal is to never put a child in or on anything resembling grain, because our message is to keep them out. And some of the other things that we talk about to the children is just, again, about always, not only always staying out of flowing grain, but never walking or playing around stored grain, never entering a grain bin, a wagon, or a truck, staying away from a grain bin while the unloading auger or vacuum suction tube is operating. And then in the event of an emergency, I think some of our reaction is to jump right in. Oh, we need to help. Maybe if I jump in and help. But the thing that we need to remember the most is that we need to turn off any equipment that's still operating. So we want to stop that flow of grain. We always want to assume that victim is still alive. And so time is of the essence. And so we want to get them help immediately. And we also want to make sure that the thing we do is calling for help, not jumping in to help. So calling for help
Mhm.
immediately and never attempting to pull someone out on their own is really important. And I would say the same. I mean, while these messages are for children too, I would say it rings true for adults. And for adults that are working in grain, for our farmers, the two critical pieces that they should remember is always always be working with a buddy and always making sure that someone knows where you are and what you're doing. And then the second thing is to make sure that you are wearing the appropriate personal protective equipment, and the safety harness and things like that, because we do want our farmers to come out safely.
Yeah, very, very true. And I think as well, especially with the young children, I
Mhm.
think about this as trying not to set up any sort of misconception because I know when I was a young kid, I had a sandbox, but it wasn't filled with sand. It had old corn in it. And so
Yes.
sometimes you maybe open up some of that misconception that, oh, I'm playing in the corn here, it's fine, but it's not fine in a grain bin, right, Jana?
You're correct, Jesse, and this is a great reminder. So we're gearing up for spring, and we're going to see a lot of children coming to farms. I think millions of children visit farms annually, whether it's their family or friends' farm, or they're going on a school field trip. We're seeing a lot of that happen. What a great way to educate children about the importance of agriculture, but let's do it in a smart and a safe way. And so, if you have an agritourism facility or you're going to be welcoming kids to your farm, for an upcoming event, let's not replace the sand with grain. It might seem like an easy fix. It might seem like, oh, this is gonna it's not gonna be as messy, but we're sending the wrong message. And we even had a parent bring that up at one of our safety days in recent years, where their kids went through the session and they said, you know what, that I was just at a, pumpkin patch this past weekend, and we saw the sandboxes replaced with the grain and with the corn, and really that's sending the wrong messages. So, teachers are picking up on that, kids are picking up on that, and then as adults, we need to always kind of be sending the right messages and role modeling. So sometimes that simple fix or simple alternative isn't always the best or the safest choice.
Well, I know as well, Jana, you were mentioning this to me before we went on the air, an example of how someone took a message from what you guys have taught and what other folks have taught as well about grain bin safety and put it into action in real life. Can you talk about that real quick?
Yes. So this past fall, actually at National FFA Convention, which perfect timing. We are also celebrating National FFA Week. We had an advisor come up to our booth and talk to us. These are the success stories that we just love to hear in different moments throughout the year. But one of their students had shared that they had gone through a Progressive Agriculture Safety Day, and they knew how to respond when they saw someone trapped in grain. They knew not to jump in, they knew to turn off all the equipment, and they knew to call for help immediately. And because of those messages and that quick reaction, that victim was saved. So that's a story we definitely want to capture and share to a larger audience. But wow, I mean, that just shows you right there. The messages are going home, and this education really does matter.
It does definitely matter. And I know with the Progressive Agriculture Foundation and Safety Days, you guys are a 501c3 nonprofit. So you guys take donations in from folks to help support Safety Day programs. So talk about that a little bit here before we wrap up. How can folks get involved with what you guys do, Jana?
Absolutely. So, yes, we're always looking for folks that want to pay it forward and send more children on to Progressive Agriculture Safety Days all throughout North America, because we are all over and we're continuing to grow. We have about 445 applications in for Safety Days for 2024 alone, and that number is growing daily. So, if somebody's wanting to give back, they can visit our website, www.progressiveag.org. We do have a donate now button. They can click on that. They can make a donation in honor of someone or in memory of someone special, and again, help to save the lives of more children. And if someone's wanting to get involved in a larger way and become a partner with us, we always welcome that as well. So they can reach out to us also by visiting our website.
Fantastic. And I know you guys have a lot of great resources there as well. Progressiveag.org, progressiveag.org for more information. Jana, it's always great to have a conversation with you. Thanks for joining us on the program. We look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thank you, Jesse.